Welcome back to another episode of Truth to Life podcast. This is episode number 3, Unmasked. I'm going to take you on a tour and share some of my experiences from the weekend. I went and watched a game of AFL at Adelaide Oval, and I'll tell you what, it was definitely an experience. It kind of reminded me like a scene out of The Handmaid's Tale. All right, we'll take it from the top. So I caught a bus down to the city from the Adelaide Hills. I was on the bus for about an hour, jumped off there and went for a strut. Met up with the old boy at the Strathmore and my brother-in-law. We had a few beers, a bit of a feed. Place was getting pretty packed, so we cruised from there and went over past the casino, across the footbridge and went into the ground. That's when things started to turn a bit left, a bit spooky after that point. I went up to the ticket, scanned my digital pass, got into the ground. The lady asked me if I wanted to grab a mask, and I said to her I didn't need one because I had a medical exemption. So she guided me over to a little booth in the corner area of the foyer. The guys there were really nice, gave me a white wristband and just told me to show that to anyone that asked me where my mask was, basically why I didn't have one on. So I started walking, probably walking for no less than, say, 20 metres, 25 metres, and I had the first security guard come up to me. He didn't come up to me and say, "Hey, sir," or "Hey, how you going?" or anything like that. He just walked straight up to my face and said, "Put your mask on." And I was like, "I don't have one, mate. I've got a medical exemption." I pulled my jacket sleeve down a little bit, and he looked at my wristband, and he just goes, "Okay," and just walked off. No, like, "Oh, sorry, mate," or, "All good, mate," or something like that. Just cruised. Probably got another 15 metres. Happened again. Someone's calling me. He kind of come from the side behind saying, "Sir, you need to put your mask on. You need to put your mask on." Blah, blah, blah. I just kept walking at first because I didn't know if he was speaking to me or what was going on. And yeah, I probably got about another like 5-10 metres down. And he kind of like come right up in front of me, stopped me in my path, and basically saying, "You need to put your mask on, sir." And I said, "No, I actually don't." I've pulled down my jumper sleeve again, showed him the wristband, kept walking. I mean, this would have had to have happened to me at least 25 to 30 times that day. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but around that mark, I literally got stopped every time I went to the toilet, every time I went to grab a beer, every time I took my nephew down to stretch his legs and get out the rain, grab some food. It was just relentless all day. It actually wore me down by the end, and it's not like I try to hide my wristband. It was just pretty tight on the wrist, and I was wearing a jacket. It was cold, so literally every time I stopped, I had to roll my wristband up or roll my arm sleeve up, show them my wristband, and then they would leave me alone. And then like literally the next bloke would come along. Surprisingly, no police officers came up to me. I've seen a few police officers that day. They seemed to be pretty chilled. It was just the staff that was working at the Oval, and I get it. They've got a job to do. They're just following directions from their one up. I guess for me, it just wasn't the same as it been in previous years. The vibe was completely different there. And I probably walked past people I would imagine that I would have known, or I probably walked past people I actually knew, but because they had masks on, I didn't recognize them. I keep coming back to the kids as well. The kids is probably one of the main reasons I decided to do this podcast in the first place. Put yourself in a 6 or 7-year-old kid's body and you go onto the football. It's probably the first year you've ever been to the football with your family. You go in the gates, and from that point onwards, you were just surrounded in people with surgical masks on. Like that can be pretty daunting. I mean, when you're a young kid and you just go to the dentist and you've got the dentist looking over you with his glasses on, his surgical mask, he's got the light shining down on you, and you got his assistant handing him the instruments. That's pretty intimidating even for a kid. I mean, they're a bit in your space and that. But put yourself back into that same kid, then you go into Adelaide Oval, you've got 29,000 people walking around, and they're about 28,500 of them have got masks on. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? The kids are suffering in this pandemic at the moment. The kids, you might not see it yet, but in years to come, there's going to be some ramification from what we've done now to these kids. There's going to be psychological issues. There's going to be kids that are nervous. There's going to be kids with anxiety. We haven't seen the last of this yet. And this is the main reason why I've decided to do the podcast. There's heaps of aspects and factors to the podcast. We haven't even got into it yet, early stages, but it all links back to the kids. The kids are the number one thing that we need to protect right now in 2021 and moving forward. We need to look after our family. We need to start tapping in with our friends again. We need to start tapping in with a lot of stuff that we've been left untapped for many years now. We've been too absorbed in technology, and we've been too absorbed in ourselves. We haven't actually seen what's going on in the background. This stuff's kind of snuck up on us, and it's time that we do something about it, because this is not going to end. There you go, episode 3. You got my first rant. Look, I stand by everything I said in that last segment. The kids need to be at our forefront of our mind. They need to be protecting, because at the moment, clearly, our own government can't do a good enough job of filtering information out at a correct pace and an age-appropriate level for a certain time of the day. There's no need at all, and no reason why these kids should be coming home from school and being exposed to the mainstream media and the relentlessness of those reports 24/7. They're just smashing the airwaves. And so I'm not going to go all into that, because that's a completely different topic. But it comes back to two things. We need to start protecting the kids. That's not only just what they hear, it's also what they see. It's what environments that we're putting these kids in. This is all new. We've never been through any of this in our lifetime, so we've got no idea what this is going to do to them long term. I know that it's not going to be anything positive. It's definitely going to impact these kids in some negative type of way. But we've got things in our power now that we can do to start protecting them a little bit more, and just limiting the amount of information that they hear. Try keep those adult conversations after hours. Hey, we all slip up. I'm guilty of it. I do it all the time, especially with the stuff that I'm involved in, what stuff I've been researching. There's a lot of conversations like that going on between myself and my wife, but we do put in a massive effort to not speak about that in front of our daughter. And if we can do that, if everyone just does a little bit, the kids are going to be so much better off. This is what this whole episode was about. It was about me going the footy, but it was mainly about what I kind of learnt when I was at the footy and when I'd seen the environment, and I try to put myself and see the environment through a kid's lens, and it was friggin' sad, eh? Like, it was really sad. This stuff definitely comes close to my heart. So I do get a little bit emotional and a bit worked up when I speak about this stuff, but this is a passion for me. Like, someone's got to be the voice for the kids that don't have voices, and that they got me. So hopefully I don't get labelled an extremist after this episode, because I have heard some rumours that Facebook is putting that tag out there. And I don't want to be the first one to get it. Come on. All right, episode 3 is done. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you want to follow me on socials, I'm on Instagram and Facebook with the handle @Truth2Life Podcast. I'll be putting up stuff pretty regular on those pages. So if you want to keep up to date, find out when new episodes drop, definitely head over there and give us a follow. I hope everyone has a really good week. And I just wanted to say thanks to everyone for their support. It means a lot to me, and it wouldn't be possible to get this out and get this created without you guys.